Here we go.
Yep, here we go. Another week, another film, another podcast, my friend.
Another podcast, another film that is not related to the films we normally do.
That's true. Well, to be fair, it's as related as the last one was, I suppose, because it's directed by none other than Taika Waititi, who also directs the Thor franchise.
Very true. This week, we're doing what we do in the shadows.
Sounds really dodgy.
Boom, boom, boom. Is that what it's called? It is called that.
It is what, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. So before we start talking about this, Forrest, so I've seen this film a lot.
Yep.
Have you seen it before?
I have
this last week?
never seen it before.
This is why I love the reason why we're doing what we're doing with these Wildcard movies, mate. Because we're getting to watch films that we've never seen before. So you've never seen this before. So what we do in the shadows is a sort of dry comedy, dark comedy. It's a comedy for sure, based around in Wellington, New Zealand, where we have a bunch of vampires in a kind of documentary style film.
Yeah, mockumentary style, 2015 release date. I think it's a very unique style of comedy. So it's done in a normal mockumentary way, and the comedy is very of the mockumentary. But I think it is important to add straight off the bat that this is it is a New Zealand film. So this is shot, I would imagine, in New Zealand, written by Jermaine Clement, who's in it. Written by Taika.
I'm sorry, mate. I've got my 3-year-old screaming at me behind me. I don't know if you can hear
it. I can a little bit.
Right, so basically, I've got to leave this in. This is all part of it. This is fine, Forrest. It's currently 8:30 at night. My 3-year-old will not sleep. And I was like, Forrest was like, should we delay it by a week? And I'm like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm just going to let like a dog, I'm going to let my daughter in the room. And then we'll carry on.
Oh my God.
A cabin thing.
Oh. This is... Here we go, straight.
I'm doing a wee little podcast, sweetheart.
You're not. Oh wow, there we.
You okay?
Are you the only parent in tonight?
No. Rachel's upstairs trying to get the other one to sleep. This was my job, and it failed. Look at you smiling at Forrest. I wouldn't melt, would it?
But absolute angelic face on her. Look at that. And you just know she's caused absolute pandemonium.
You've caused mayhem, haven't you? Yes, she's nodding.
Yes, she has.
Right, so do you want to sit here with me while we talk about what we do in the shadows? Yeah, alright, cool. Sorry, Forrest. Anyway, you were talking about who's in it. Jermaine Clements.
Yeah, Jermaine Clements. We got Taika Waititi. We've got quite a lot of people that no one would ever know, really, because I am right, it is New Zealand, isn't it?
Yeah, Wellington's in New Zealand, I think.
Nice, okay. I mean, it's definitely strong New Zealand accents.
Oh, mate, yeah.
So,
What's that beeping?
I need food.
What's that beeping?
what's the beeping?
What's that beeping?
I don't know, Bubs.
It's me.
Is it you? You're the beeping. Who's your favourite character in What We Do in the Shadows? You. Are you in it? Are you in the movie?
Wow.
I didn't know you got cast in it. Wow. What lines did you have? Or were you just an extra?
Green.
You were green.
A green.
Oh,
A
she was
green.
green.
Oh, wow.
Wow. You. Oh, okay. Was your costume green? Okay, so there were like zombies in it, weren't there? I think in the movie. So
There was. So yeah.
So were
Yes,
you a
to a
baby
zombie.
zombie? Oh, so you were in the masquerade scene, were you?
Wow.
Did you have a good time? You did?
They treated her well. That's good. I like that. Hello. Yeah. Now the little monster can hear me. There we go.
There you
How
go.
are we? How are you?
Earplugs are in. Oh look at that. You're proper in the podcast now. Anyway, what I was going to say is that Jermaine Clements is also. We can't not mention the fact that he is one half of a Flight of a Concorde, or Flight of the Concords.
Didn't know that.
Have you heard of that comedic duo?
So Flight of the Conchords, I believe my sister was massively into.
Oh, so funny.
I hadn't been, it hadn't reached my radar.
Yeah,
Flight of
they're
the Conchords.
so funny. So he is with the other actor's name escapes me. Classic me. But they're a brilliant comedic duo that brought my attention. I think back in when the first Iron Man came out, 2008.
Ooh.
Which was and they're brilliant. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I am a massive fan of this movie, but mate, I want your thoughts. What did you think of this movie?
What were my thoughts? So, I thoroughly enjoyed myself by the end of the movie. I thought that the first, I would park the first 35 minutes because I think that for me, what the issue with it is the plot isn't made clear for quite a while into the film. So like I appreciate mockumentary. The comedy was brilliant, but because it wasn't in a fixed place, this is the destination of the movie, this is the plot that you're listening to, or watching it rather. And so for the first 30 minutes, I felt a little bit lost. But once we got to Nick, once Nick was part of it, and he becomes one of the vampires, then I fully started to appreciate it.
What's your thoughts on Stu?
I think Stu's brilliant.
Oh my God.
I thoroughly enjoy Stu. I think
He barely says anything in the movie, and he's just so watchable.
He's amazing. My favourite part was I think not my favourite part. One of my favourite parts was so I got a few notes about this, but I like the second time they go out. So the first time they go out, I think one of them makes a comment like, "We have to be invited into a club." So
Yes.
they're forever never getting in clubs.
Yeah, which I don't think they uphold that in the UK series that's out at the moment. I think they kind of like suspend that because they realise they're going to have to go to different locations, and then all of a sudden they just go, "Let's just cut that because that's going to take too much time."
Yeah. But no. The second time, I believe, the second time they go out, they meet the werewolves, and the first werewolf scene is probably my favourite. And because they square up to each other,
It's so good.
Bunch. I can't do the accent, but you kind of have to do the accent if
You've got to do it. So now you've got to commit to it. So go. What was the line?
New Zealand. It's not too bad of an accent actually for New Zealand, isn't it?
Yeah, you do it quite well. I've heard you do
not
a
too
New
bad.
Zealand and Australian accent many a time, my friend, and you've nailed it.
New Zealand. So it's like bunch of it's and then so basically chucks. He goes, it's a bunch of sticks. And then one of them just starts chasing him. Don't chase the sticks. Don't chase them. Stop chasing them.
That actor, the alpha in the pack of the wolves, he's a famous actor as well. He is
Darby, isn't it?
Oh, that's it.
Anton.
So funny.
Absolutely. Don't chase the sticks. I thought the werewolf. Yeah, I thought the werewolves were incredible. I think my favourite vampire Deacon. I really like
so
the
good.
character. Deacon is brilliant, and they set up Deacon very well. I think, I just felt. I felt the first 20 minutes, half an hour is quite like where is this going? I think it's difficult because it's such a unique film, right? So
it's so far removed from everything we've reviewed.
Yeah.
Far removed.
So far removed, and I think you just kind of got to get right. Okay, I've got to get into this, layer into this. And it definitely is. It's amazing film. Another line. So it's really good for like one-liners. They're brilliant. So our friend has been killed in a sunlight accident. Brilliant. I said not really clear on a plot. Would have given it more of a central focus, which I assume the TV series has then done.
Talk about it. Yeah, so the TV series doesn't follow necessarily these characters, but it expands the universe.
Yeah,
the universe of what this is, and they do. I think the characters do appear as the vampiric council in the seasons. Yeah.
Okay.
Which you see in the film
from the film.
Yeah. They do. They do a little cameo.
They do bring them in.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking isn't the series British or not?
It is, but it is, but they've set it in New Jersey. So the vampires live in New Jersey, and then they talk about and there's different kind of like clans of vampires and stuff. It's honestly, if you've watched the movie and you love the movie and you haven't seen the TV series, watch the TV series. It follows, and it's still written in. Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clements have a huge part in the series as well in terms of the scripts, and I think they're producers on it as well. It upholds the love for this kind of like tone of movie. It's great. It's so good.
I mean, I think the masquerade scene with the Beast is absolutely like you're when is it Deacon her ex? Is it Deacon the ex? Yeah.
Her ex is what you mean the Beast's ex?
Yeah, is that
Vladislav?
Because he comes in and he's like, are you my ex-boyfriend, Georgie? And then he's like, no, the other one.
It's so good.
There were really good moments in it. I go for a look called Dead but Delicious. And the virgin scene, which is our introduction to Nick, isn't it? Which is great.
So good.
Talking about Nick, so Corey, who plays Nick, I'm sure he is reasonably. Has he only done What We Do in the Shadows?
Well, Nick.
Yeah.
My favourite line of Nick's is he goes, the movie Twilight, have you seen it? Okay, well, I'm like the main guy in Twilight. You know the main guy? Yeah, Twilight. Yeah, that's me. That's when he first becomes a vampire. It's great.
It's genius, and it's very funny, and I think if it was done now, I think it would have more of a central plot to it. I feel like it kind of had a big budget. They're like most of the cast are nobodies. So I'm imagining it was quite a small budget, a bit of a bit. They've clearly got to love the writers. So Taki. I always say his fucking name wrong every time. I pronounce his name differently every time, whether we're talking about Marvel or whatever. So it's Taka.
Taka. It's not Taika.
Taika
Waititi, isn't it?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Taika. That's it.
Taika.
So yeah, Taika, clearly a bit of a passion project. I think it's what like you can tell he's got an absolute love for doing stuff like this, and they wanted to do it. But I feel like if you were looking at it through the eye of film studies, there are a lot of things that you would add. So I would have added a far more clearer plot.
They had a lot, didn't they? In terms of a story, they had to introduce the characters. It's effectively like a team-up movie. They had all these individual characters that they had to introduce their backstory immediately, and they each individually had to have motives and objectives in this movie. And with all those multiple things threading through, you can only imagine they must have filmed a shit ton, and they must have cut loads back. And I think you're right, and I think I agree with you on that kind of front. There were kind of things that weren't really fleshed out, or things weren't paced properly in the first half.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's all I'd say. And I think maybe it'd be interesting to know whether they've made the TV series and Taka. Mr. T.
I like
that. I think I would be interested whether once it was a series, whether Mr. T thought, actually this format is better to tell the story, because in reality you would want like each character should have their own episode, really, because you want to find out their history. Like you want to find out Viago's history, big time, because the whole he got sent to the wrong country and then had to. So yeah, I know I did really enjoy it. I think it was a great length. They kept it incredibly concise. It wasn't a long film in any stretch. It's a really nice, chill comedy. It's very funny. There's some great one-liners, and it's just different. It's just really different. Like, where else do you unless you go to Twilight, but that's not a comedy, and it's certainly not a mockumentary. So you're not really going to get this elsewhere, which is it's just great, and it gives you zombies, and it gives you werewolves, and it gives you vampires. So I'm like,
I think that is a brilliant roundup in terms of, because I think there's plenty of us to talk about. To obviously listeners, if you're listening, you are understanding that this is technically a superhero / Marvel DC currently going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm gonna throw in some links here to the MCU. There's plenty to talk about that's wrapped around this movie. We need to talk about Taika Waititi and the Thor franchise, and actually what recently has broken the news about Taika Waititi and Thor 5. I don't know if you know, Forrest. We need to talk about that. I've got a theory. I
think you're wrong about it, though, mate.
I know, this is the thing. This is why I feel like we need to talk about it, because I don't know if it's... I think it is hearsay. But I also feel like that there's a likelihood he won't do it anyway.
Okay. By the way, to give context,
elephant in the room.
Matt has spoken to me about chances. There was some rumours spreading around that Waititi had been basically fired from doing the next Thor film, and I think after the awful reception, quite frankly, of Thor: Love and Thunder, it really wouldn't be surprising.
Do you feel like that was a little bit unfair?
See, the problem is, Matt, mate, you know me in regards to where I think the Thor films went.
Yeah,
I am on very much of the team that believes that comedy, the comedy overshot the actual, the chances of the film being good. And Thor as a character, I just don't agree with what he's done with it. I didn't find most of it funny. I feel like he does jokes that go on for too long or are in weird places. So I'm not your man.
It's really interesting. It's really because I think it's comedic genius. I personally do.
No.
The way that this is why I love What We Do in the Shadows so much. I think just the fact that he plays normal dialogue in a way that is so funny. And it's so kind of like, I'm just gonna let this uncomfortable feeling run through, and that's where the comedy lies. Or everything's a bit sharp, or it's a bit witty, or it's at the expense of somebody else. And Thor, I think Taika took the What We Do in the Shadows kind of tone and made it commercial for a mainstream audience in Thor,
which I think
genius.
But not for Thor though. It's not the right character.
You cannot say Thor. The original Thor 1 and 2 were good movies.
I thought 2 was it? Yeah, I thought 2 wasn't too bad. I think 2 gets a massive, load of arseache. But I even if I don't, I still think that Thor is rooted, the history of it and the character of it is rooted in a layer of dark. They should be dark films, in my opinion. They need to be dark, edgy, like, oh yeah, Thor is like proper fucking, you want to feel like that. I want to feel that way.
I think you're past the point of return though. You can't do that now. Say for instance Taika Waititi didn't do Thor 5 and you went back to Kenneth Branagh doing a dark Thor, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't hit.
He didn't do a dark one though. He did a melodrama. He did melodrama. He didn't do a dark. So I would be after the Dark Knight Rises-esque, right? Batman type Thor.
I'm give me all a over Batman, that, but give you me need a to Batman
type Thor. Yeah. Which he did. That's why it's his isn't the same as the first 2 films. So you can absolutely do it. And to be honest, Matt, if we're thinking sensibly, you can do it even more so because we know what's happening in the universe now, and that all of these universes exist.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you just provide us with a brand new. Hello, little one.
Do you hear that evil laugh? She kind of go.
The Joker is here. So yeah, I think there is a way in which a new universe can provide us a new type of Thor.
Yeah,
and that's what I'd like.
This is again. I'm going back to my theory of after Phase 6, we're gonna have a huge reboot, and we'll go to a different universe, and that's probably where you could get your different Thor movies.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred Waititi to have Spider-Man. Could you imagine that comedy in a Spider-Man trilogy? That would be insane.
Yeah,
because you've got it. Because also the other thing, mate, is that the age of Hemsworth and the age of Thor. Why would he be doing his comedy is young, right? It's quite a young vibe to it. I don't expect someone like looking at the age of Thor to be coming out with cracks quite in that way. It just doesn't gel with me. Doesn't feel like. Whereas Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I can absolutely get on board that he would be a little bit like quirky with a lot of like what he deems to be funny behaviour.
Oh, say it again, Bubba. She just asked you a question. See, go on, say.
Oh, what did you say?
You got a question?
Green.
Just the word green. Green.
You got a question? Oh, you're just going to stick the headphones up your nose.
That's it.
Oh, you there? Oh.
Wow.
Oh, well done. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Okay.
Thea. Thank you, guest Thea.
That
I think
is-
it's definitely time for you to go to bed now. Daddy failed at the attempt earlier, didn't he? Yes, she's nodding. He did very much fail on that attempt.
Wow.
Thank you for your interaction in the pod. I appreciate it.
Honestly, T, you have absolutely added quite substantial content to what is otherwise going to be a very short podcast.
Off you go to mummy, darling. Off you go, darling. Off you pop.
Toronto.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
She's fallen on the floor. She's on the floor.
So yeah,
She
do
goes,
you
yeah.
understand? Would you? I know you wouldn't agree because you're a massive Thor fan at the moment.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I get where you're going with it, and I agree with you to a certain extent. But I think what we've got now is this big, burly, ridiculously handsome. His hair, his eyebrows, Adonis of a man.
Lovely,
right? Yeah. Where you typically would see, oh my god, look at that force. He is theoretically speaking, genuinely is one of the strongest superheroes out there, right? One of the most well equipped, his superheroes out there. Yeah. And Taika Waititi has given Thor a real human, relatable, maybe even you wouldn't think. When I watched Thor 1, Rachel would have hated me to say Thor 1. She hates when I put first movies as one movies, but Thor 1, Chris Hemsworth, dry performance, melodramatic. That's my view, right?
Yeah.
Then you go to Ragnarok, and it's just a completely different take on it. It's refreshing. You see this big masculine man be an absolute clown, but then still be able to be a superhero and do all the things that a superhero needs to do as the God of Thunder. I really like that, and I find that quite an endearing thing to watch and quite refreshing against really serious Captain America, a really narcissistic Tony Stark, but yet you just love him still. You've got Clint Clint as Arrow is Arrow, not Arrow. Hawkeye. That's DC. Hawkeye. I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But he's a family man. You've got all these different traits, and then Thor has a trait that I never thought could be there until Taika Waititi took on.
It shouldn't be there.
Well, that's your opinion.
my opinion, and you're wrong.
But I would be, but equally, mate, I'd be really interested to see a serious Dark Knight version of a Thor. That would be badass. That would be great.
It'd be incredible. I'd love to see. It'd just be proper dark. Love a bit of that.
Going back to what we do in the shadows, though, I've got a theory on it being linked to the MCU.
I love a theory.
Okay. This is nowhere close to the amazing theory. I'm sorry, the amazing theory I had for Ultron, but in I think it's 2/3 into the movie, they're trying to figure out what they're going to wear for the masquerade ball.
Oh yeah.
And what is face of Vigo, Taika.
Yep.
He dresses up as Blade.
Okay.
And then they mention Wesley Snipes, right?
Oh,
and later in the TV series, Wesley Snipes as Blade turns up in the TV series as a member of the Vampiric Council via Zoom.
Loving it.
Spoiler, by the way. But that, for me, pretty much, I don't know if that's a Taika thing, or even because he got Wesley Snipes in by the time he was doing in the Thor movies. That's him trying to link in what we do in the shadows into the MCU. Thoughts?
No,
I think that's spot on, mate. Spot on.
my only
Think up.
thing that could cross, he wouldn't have been involved in Marvel when this was made, though.
Who, Wesley Snipes?
No, Waititi.
No. So in the first one, in the movie, yeah, fair enough. He was dressed as Wesley Snipes as Blade, but there's a little reference there to a Marvel character. But equally, later on in the TV series, actually Wesley Snipes as Blade turns up
Yeah.
over Zoom,
Oh, okay.
and I'm like, well, that's. I mean, I know technically Wesley Snipes as Blade isn't part of the MCU,
Yeah.
or is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm reaching. I think I am reaching just a little bit.
I mean, I feel like right now, S Club Reaching for the Stars should be playing.
Well,
for the level of reaching, but I appreciate you're trying to find a fit, and that's fair, mate. That is fair, but that is a reach.
well, I'm gonna hold my head high and reach the top.
Oh.
That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna reach for those theories. And then I'll bring it all back to you, Forrest.
Hey. Our international listeners haven't got a fucking clue what's going on.
I mean, international listeners, if you haven't heard of S Club 7, get on it. Get on it.
Don't stop moving to the F.
Have you heard that? Have you heard that Hearsay are back on tour or going to?
Up, are they?
Seriously,
This
like legit.
This podcast has taken a turn. Hearsay. You know what I love? Hearsay, Atomic Kitten, and S Club.
Oh my god!
Maybe even Liberty X rocks out.
Oh, Liberty X.
Oh
Yes.
Liberty, yeah, all of those back then.
That would be great. That would be a night to remember.
And me and you are getting front row tickets.
We're on it. We're on it.
Yes.
Actually, do you know what? Speaking of which, trying to reach myself back to what we do in the shadows.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to mention this because I think we did this at the beginning of our podcast. We never really kept it going, but Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 96. And I find that quite surprising because obviously I think your perception of the movie is probably the most common one.
Yeah.
But it's given it a 96, and they're rave reviews, man. Smarter, fresher, and funnier than the modern vampire movies has any right to be. What We Do in the Shadows is bloody good fun.
I see what I did with the word bloody there.
Yeah, it's clever, isn't it?
Inspired. I think I wouldn't. Yeah, I couldn't give it that high. I think that for me, out of 100%, it would be. I think this one would be 72%.
You give it 72?
72. That's for me. I feel like you need a much clearer plot. You need pace it down a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I think it was a lot being chucked at the wall, and rather than going right, here's 3 solid ideas we're going to go with, it was kind of like we want to do all of it, but we're only going to provide one scene for each thing, and it became very sporadic.
So let's do. I'm going to do it. So Thor Ragnarok. I'm just going to look at Thor Ragnarok's Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what happened to my voice. Rotten Tomatoes.
Looking at Rotten Tomatoes.
So the gross income for What We Do in the Shadows in the box office was 3.3 million. Okay.
Nice.
Now, what was the box office income for Thor Ragnarok?
By then, Marvel was huge, mate. So you're to what, 40?
Oh, mate.
Oh, okay.
Go higher.
235 mil.
Higher, brother.
675.
Okay, lower. All right, chill out. Right. So 3.3 million for What We Do in the Shadows, and then Thor Ragnarok was 315 million.
Wow.
That's mental. That's crazy.
That is mental. That is crazy.
I think that's a testament to the career that Taika Waititi is currently on the path. He's on a warpath of blockbuster history, I think.
100%.
I personally, I know people absolutely despise him as a director. And this is the thing, the fact that there was rumors that he's not going to, they got fired by Disney because of the reaction for Thor Love and Thunder, and there's no real scope for him to do a Thor 5. I think that he's great, but there is a lot of passionate hate.
Yeah.
Which I think's unfair, mate. Taika, if you're listening, T-Dog, hit me up, mate. I'm a huge fan. Hit me up.
Yeah, I'm a fan. If you're offering acting jobs, mate, I'll be there. But James Gunn, if you're listening, mate, you're insane. You are insane.
I mean, he is great.
James Gunn is just.
Oh.
And Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Guardians and the Galaxy 3. See, that, for me, is the comedy genius. You've got a plot. You've got good character development. Mm-hmm. You've got great comedy. James Gunn, mate.
James
Gunn does put Waititi to shame, mate.
I mean, he's got a more tenured career, hasn't he, James Gunn?
Yeah.
As a director, I think Taika went down an acting route, didn't he, first?
Well, yeah. Look at What We Do in the Shadows, mate.
Yeah.
Wouldn't find James Gunn as a vampire in your mockumentary film, would you?
I got a question though. Let's another question about What We Do in the Shadows. I know it's been a bit all over the place, but the fact that it is a mockumentary, okay, and we recently spoke about She-Hulk and your, very strong hatred for the addresses to the camera breaking the fourth wall. Now that is what literally What We Do in the Shadows is about.
Now,
what's the difference?
I want to clarify.
Yeah.
This is, from the off, a mockumentary. If it's a documentary, mockumentary, fucked up-umentary, right, I can get on board. I'm totally on board with that. That is the style, that is the genre, that is what it... Right, it's there. There is no footfall. It is when you are establishing yourself as a non-documentary form, and then you go, right, slap bang, I'm gonna suddenly and randomly break the fourth wall. So Fleabag, I would argue, now this could be argued, because is Fleabag from the offset established as that format? I would argue not. It isn't a documentary. It isn't a mockumentary. You're not supposed to know that, these scenes are being filmed, right? This is a normal structure of multimedia where you're watching it and they're having a conversation and you're a little fly on the wall, and then boom, she then starts talking to me. That's the issue. I don't like that. There's no place for that. Which I know it was hugely controversial. I got 2 very strongly worded emails. Not about that, just generally.
Oh, really?
Stuff, but no, I'm joking.
I was going to say, I don't want to hear it. We need to read these out immediately.
I wish we had any engagement, but good or bad. But yes, I think that. So for me, this was quality. Totally on board with it.
Fair enough.
Loved it.
I think you're right as well. The tone is very clear, and the style of how it's being filmed is very clear. It's a mockumentary, so then clearly the fourth wall won't exist in this at all. How have you watched a little bit more of She-Hulk?
Do you know what? I haven't.
Have you not?
It will change. So life will change quite dramatically in the next couple of days because I'm about to finish. I'm on the last ever episode of Game of Thrones. And once
you're on the last ever episode.
Yeah, so I've just finished the bells.
We've got to talk. I feel like we need to talk about that later next week. Maybe, I don't know. I think we need to debrief. That is in its own right something the whole world needs to talk about. Continue to.
We need to absolutely. Yeah, we can't do a whole episode out, but let's establish some fucking good amount of time to talk about Game of Thrones because I think there's going to be some very interesting debate about that. So let's make next week. Actually, we've got to talk about what next week's involvement is going to be.
We do. We need to decide. We do need to decide.
But yeah, to go back, I will watch more She-Hulk. I'm just waiting to finish the Game of Thrones episode, and then that is finished for me. That thing.
All I will say when you get back to She-Hulk, all I will say is one word, and that is Madison, and then everything changes. For the better, in my view, for the better. I was like, okay, I'm on board with that. That's brilliant. And if anybody else shares that view, please send us an email at don'tbeheropodcast@gmail.com. All right.
All of these, the Marvel TV series so far have a habit of, once we get to about episode 3, shit start, and then they're like, right, they're clever. They're not going to make a TV series that's shit. Let's be honest.
I think as the whole MCU, Marvel fans have been generally quite critical of the Disney Plus series that have gone out. Maybe I think Loki most definitely has been the most popular one so far, for obvious reasons. I think it just upholds itself brilliantly as a TV show, but there are things that we need to talk about, which might be a beautiful segue, my friend, because if we're happy to park what we do in the shadows and say that was that, we could then move on to talk about the announcements at the D23 Expo this past week.
Little Mermaid.
Oh. Have you seen that trailer?
I have seen the trailer. Now, and I think, right, we need to, and I'm gonna get serious here because we talked about She-Hulk, and I think it goes without saying that unfortunately within this fan base and within life generally, sexism and racism, quite frankly, are strife, and I think that there is no denying that there is a correlation between when there is a female superhero in a film or a female superhero in a TV series where there is a hell of a lot of complaints or a lot of negativity prior to it even airing, right? She-Hulk, an uncontrollable amount of negativity before we even had the first episode, which is just not right. None of it's right. And I think it kind of, and the reason why I say this and building up to Little Mermaid, as much as I'm joking that that's the content of the next 20 minutes, is that actually I think unfortunately that is causing a lot of the unnecessary amount of negativity around it. Now there is also a Disney CGI and the holy fuck out of things that shouldn't be CGI'd. It's perfectly fine, The Little Mermaid as was. Bring something new to the table, and that counts for Aladdin, that counts for Lion King, that counts for any. Bring something new to the table and then put it in a different format. Yeah. Don't bring something back that was uber successful, continues to be, and then bring it in a different format. There's no need. But equally, there is absolutely no need in 2022 to completely tarnish something based on who features in that film or TV series. That's all I want to say. Let's carry on. But yeah,
no, I completely agree. And those people just need to get over it as well. Like, get over it. Like, especially, with, I remember when, obviously with She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, there have been just terrible comments, about it. But like, I even remember when Captain Marvel came out, and even before Captain Marvel came out, people were absolutely slating Brie Larson, absolutely slating the movie before it even remotely hit. The first trailers, they're like, "This is going to be weak," blah 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 blah, and it's like that's just because you're not used to seeing a female lead as a superhero.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's literally it. Like you just got to get over it. Whatever that is. And this is again, I think me and Rachel were talking about the Little Mermaid stuff earlier. Like I can't comprehend why you're saying those things. Yeah. Okay, I don't understand why you're saying that. Equally, why you're probably not understanding why I'm saying what I'm saying. But equally, you've got to accept that representation is really, really important. And and there was comments about the new Little Mermaid trailer saying like, oh, that little girl watching, Little Mermaid, it's nothing to do about colour, it's got nothing to do about race, it's just because, it's Little Mermaid, she's really famous. No, it actually does. It 100% does. It's all about the representation of everybody that needs to be represented. Represented. That's why, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I did mention the podcast, but like Miss Marvel, I enjoy as a TV show and appreciate it as an MCU TV show. I also recognise that representation isn't about my representation; it's about other people's representation. So I appreciate it as a creative piece of work, other than the story itself, because I can't obviously relate to that. But you can appreciate things if it doesn't represent you in different ways.
Yeah.
You can enjoy things in different ways.
I like Disney evidently pushing against any of this, and let's be honest, Disney as a brand is absolutely like they are not clean for anything. Like they have got some very questionable associations. But I think the more within Marvel we see a jump towards diversity representation. Also, I would put in there that actually there isn't enough disability awareness for me.
100%.
For like we're absolutely there. Pretty much, I can't think there must. I think most if not all are able-bodied. Have we got a single?
In terms of like lead.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, and my issue is that we are about to embark into a heavy part of it where we're going to go to mutants. So we're going to go X-Men, we're going to go Fantastic Four. Now, what I would immediately plead is that what we do not do is shoehorn disabilities into those characters in order to, seek that representation when we are about to embark on casting mutants, right? Mm-hmm. Disabled actors should absolutely be given parts that are not just parts that could easily be explained why they would be disabled, right? Mm-hmm. So I fear that is on the horizon, seen as though they are very much tackling their representation among actors. I want to see, the likes of Thor with a disability. There's absolutely no reason why that can't happen, why that shouldn't be the case. So
that goes to show as well, and it's about finding the superheroes or the characters that have that disability, that have that, and that's why I think Moon Knight. Again, you need to watch Moon Knight. I'm desperate for us to talk about Moon Knight at some point. That's why I think Moon Knight is so absolutely brilliant. Actually, in my view, I think that's the best TV series that Disney Plus have done in terms of the MCU so far, just underneath Loki. And that's because it struck a chord with people with mental health issues, with people with dissociative personality disorders as well. Those that disassociate from multiple personalities. That's a genuine thing. That's a genuine diagnosis, right? So, and that's represented actually in a superhero. That superhero is built based on that, and that's why I think it's so good, and that's why I think it's that's why it truly strikes a chord with representation. So I 100% agree. Don't shoehorn that kind of thing in, on superheroes, on characters that don't necessarily have it. Make sure that either they're being created and represented in the right way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Right,
I felt that was quite serious.
We took a massive serious detour. It was, it's good to have. And but yeah, hit me with the Disney announcements. Let's go.
Okay, so we won't talk about Disney but we'll talk about Marvel, obviously, because this is a Marvel. Currently a Marvel. We're talking about what we do in the shadow, but you get it. If you're listening, you've listened to us before. You get it, right? Anyway, we have had some really exciting announcements. One of which I didn't know was being announced, and it slipped underneath my radar, which is Werewolf by Night, which is coming out on October 7th, I think. Which is showing Werewolf by Night is a famous comic. I think it's a comic of Werewolf by Night is featured, I think, in a shot. I think it might be in even Moon Knight, I think. But that is I think it's an antagonist character. And it's a Halloween special. And the way it's shot, it looks absolutely beautiful. It's a complete nod to classic John Hitchcock noir horror movies, if that's your bag. I personally don't have much experience in horror movies at all, so I might not be making any sense, but it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful, so I definitely will be watching that for Halloween.
Amazing.
And the one that I'm particularly excited about, and talking about bringing a darker tone, Forrest, is Secret Invasion.
Oh my God, yes.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yes.
It is good.
It is. I can't wait. That is probably the thing I'm most excited about. Guardians 3 and that, 100%. Absolutely.
Could you imagine like Samuel L. Jackson being sat down at Disney, like, okay, we're going to do a Disney Plus series, and he's like, I am not doing a comedy.
No.
My shit's got a hit.
Sophie's just.
Hello, you alright? Hello.
Short interlude. Are you off to bed?
I am, yeah.
She is off to bed.
Off to bed. Oh, of course.
Good night. Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
But with Secret Invasion, we have got the plot that still needs fleshing out. With the fact that Nick Fury's gone missing, he's coming back to Earth. We've got to talk about the Skrulls invading Earth. We've got Olivia Colman's in it. We've got Emilia Clarke in it. Oh my God, stacked.
I've seen Emilia Clarke a lot recently with my Game of Thrones.
Of course,
binge.
of course.
And I can't wait for Secret Invasion.
And Don Cheadle's in it again.
It is, yeah. I cannot wait. I think that is going to be amazing.
So, and I've been told as well that Secret Invasion will then lead into Armor Wars with Don Cheadle.
Wow.
So I feel like that's going to be a nice little thread through.
Amazing.
We've got a director for Fantastic Four.
Who we got?
Matt Shankman, who was a WandaVision and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia director, which is that's one of my favourite TV shows of all time. It's Sunny, so that's cool.
Wow. Okay.
Do you think it'll be funny? Do you think it'll be comedic?
Fantastic Four. Yeah, Fantastic Four is. Yes, yeah. It's definitely got to have that vibe.
Yeah.
They are naturally those characters, aren't they?
Yeah. There was mate, did you see this announcement? So one of our early podcasts, if you haven't listened to the beginning of our podcast, we start with Iron Man, but then we go straight into the Incredible Hulk, which had Edward Norton, but also had a certain character which was played by Tim Blake Nelson, who is returning after 14 years away from the MCU to come back and reprise his role, which I think Nathan spoke about in one of our our first highlights episode. I think it's about, is it Mr. Blue? What's his character's name? I think it's something blue with the big heads. Yeah. But he's going to be coming back as the leader. That's it. So he's going to be coming back as the leader in Captain America: New World Order. That is big news.
So is it the same character?
Yeah.
Is it the same character just developed into the leader?
Be repackaged, yeah. But I think it's threaded. They'll find a way to thread that. Wow. For sure.
Okay.
That was announced by Kevin Feige at D23. Sam Wilson, obviously, this would be his first feature movie as Captain America.
Yeah.
I'm up for that. New World Order, bring it. The other very, very exciting announcement was the cast reveal of the Thunderbolts.
That cannot wait for that. Thunderbolts, the Secret Invasion. Yeah, because we got Bucky.
Sebastian Stan's in it.
Sebastian Stan. We got Florence Pugh.
Yeah, we do.
We've got my best friend out of Stranger Things,
David Harbour.
Yes,
he's a legend.
Honestly, it's just between that and Secret Invasion, I'm like fully in.
Yeah, we've also got Taskmaster. We've got Ghost. I mean, Ghost is in Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp,
which I've never seen.
Mate, do you know what? I'm really glad she's back in, because I thought her performance was actually really good and actually one of the best ones out of that movie. So I'm looking forward for us to go and review that very soon, because it's in phase 3.
We are.
So she plays the role of Ghost. It's played by Hannah John Kamen. Also Wyatt Russell, which is Kurt Russell's son, as the US agent.
Wow.
Kind of fake Captain America. I think he was great. I really enjoyed his performance. You've got Valentina. Did I mention Taskmaster? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a Suicide Squad of the MCU.
It's got a definite Suicide Squad vibe.
Without the cringe, maybe.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I can't wait. We got some. So they both TV series, right?
I think the Thunderbolts is a movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, people.
Thunderbolts is a movie. I feel like we should find that out before we close this podcast. Thunderbolts, Marvel. Is it a movie? I thought it was TV series. Thunderbolts cast. Thunderbolts. Who will be in the Thunderbolts movie? You are correct, sir. I stand corrected.
Nice.
Thunderbolt.
And it needs to. If you would have turned to me and said it was a TV show, I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah,
a massive team up movie.
Secret Invasion surprises me. It's only a TV series. Like, that's massive.
Yeah.
Contents of it, but it kind of makes sense. But okay, so that honestly, we've got some exciting times ahead, mate.
We really do. And again, like we've said it once, but we'll say it again. It is a stacked few years for Marvel.
It is indeed.
Worryingly so.
Yeah. We will see how the quality continues. What are we doing next week, Matt?
Well, my friend, this is our second Wildcard movie.
It is.
I like the number 3. I don't know about you.
I love that number 3.
People, consider it being a magic number. So, with 3 being the magic number, shall we do one more wild card movie, my friend?
Let's do one more wild card movie, and then we'll return to our safe haven.
Do you know what? This has been great.
3.
This has been
good.
I don't know you listeners have been. I really hope you have been enjoying it. I feel like it's been quite, for me and Forrest, it feels like it's been quite a more relaxed kind of couple of weeks in terms of just exploring different movies and having fun, having a more kind of relaxed, loose chat. But I now feel like I'm refreshed and I'm so ready for phase 3. I'm so excited.
I'm so hungry for it. I just want to taste on the tidbits of Marvel again. Oh yeah. So, with the third wildcard, does that mean you have to do this fun, interesting roulette thing?
I bloody do, my friend. I was really hoping you came up with a really good idea. That was probably going to be a little bit different, but no, it's fine.
No, of course I haven't, mate. Of course I haven't. But But we only had good films left, so this is only going to get stronger and stronger. I've got a feeling we could be on our way to the Matrix.
Do you think?
I reckon this week is going to be the Matrix.
What?
That's going to be one hell of a moment. But I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Shall I pause? Shall I do a little bit of mischief? So I'm about to pause, and then you're going to randomly hear what we're doing. So here's the pause. See you on the flippity flip.
Okay. Here we go. I've punted it all in. So just to go back and just give an overview of the movies we have left. So obviously we've done What We Do in the Shadows, so that's now gone. We have remaining The Matrix, Inception, Rocketeer, Cube, Zombies, which is the Disney Zombies musical version, Big Hero 6, David Hasselhoff's Nick Fury. We've got Twilight. We've got Suicide Squad 2021 version, and Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight.
That would be, honestly, Dark Knight or Matrix, please.
So, shall I spin the wheel of greatness, my friend?
Yes, please.
Okay, can I have your best impression of Tony Stark? Just give me a drum roll, mate. There you go. Oh, it's spinning. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh,
I'm about to cry. No, it's my favourite movie. Favourite movie.
I don't want to do Big Hero 6.
It's zombies. No, it's not. It's not.
Oh.
Get your face.
Oh my god. I do not want to watch.
Like,
so is it Rocketeers in?
Forrest,
What?
why so serious? It's Dark Knight, my friend.
Shut the hell up. Oh,
it's Dark Knight.
Oh my god.
Wow. What a way to finish.
Wow.
I'm not lying. I'm not even lying. This isn't rigged. I just want to say I'm not rigging this. That is legit.
Oh my god, this is going to be one incredible podcast next week. Dark Knight. I can't wait. I'm fully buzzing.
I mean, I'm actually really excited. I haven't watched it in ages, and it's top. It's literally up there, mate. Top movies.
Oh my god. We honestly,
and it's long. It's long.
It's long. But it means we can analyse the hell of it. There's gonna be so much to analyse that. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave you to it.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm gonna digest that news before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you bet your bottom dollar I'm watching that ASAP.
We're going to DC, my friend.
We're on a. Let me get my heels on. I'm on my way to DC.
Let me grab my Batmobile. Off I go.
Tippity tap tap tap. Here we go. So yeah, we're gonna go for a little bit of a DC trip before we head back to.
Do you want to do it in person? Should we do it in person? Should we see if we can do it in person? Trying to find a time.
If we can do it, let's do it.
All right, buddy.
In person, mate.
All right, let's try.
And then because what we need Endgame, I want to watch it with you, mate. We need to watch
100%.
Endgame together.
Oh, we've got to do something special.
You'll come round this house and we'll watch.
It's going to be emotional. What a journey we're going through, my friend. Thank you for joining us. As per usual, dear listeners, you're on this journey with us. Really appreciate your listen. Really appreciate you sticking with us. Thank you. And and as well, just so you know, like, this is genuinely my highlight of my week. So I appreciate you listening. Forrest appreciate you listening. We'll see you next week. Dark Knight, my friends.